Hello and welcome to the new tutorial. We're gonna learn how to simulate the snowfall in Fusion. First of all, we are going to open a 3ds Max file and find the camera. This camera was tracked from the footage I previously recorded and placed right in the scene. What we need to do is select the camera and export it with ASE format to be able to put it in Fusion. You can leave all the export settings by default. Now let's jump to the Davinci Resolve and put our camera there. In the media pool, I'm going to create a new Fusion composition and call it Snow Simulation and change frame rate to 25. It is preferred to use the same FPS that you used in 3ds Max. Up there you can find the frames representation of the timeline. Also, I'm gonna use my rendered sequence. I select all the frames and drop them into the media pool. As you can see, my sequence is 400 frames, so I'm going to change the Fusion composition to 400 frames as well. And jump into the Fusion tab. Now what we're going to do is import the camera that we exported from Max before. So let me find it. Yeah, and we can see it in the viewport. The camera imported fine. You can see the path and keys. Now we have to create a particle emitter node. With this node, you can create any particle simulation you would like, but to be able to see it in the viewport and merge with other 3D objects, you need a particle render node. Having them both in the scene, you can merge them with the camera. Now, let's see what this particle emitter is. So we can select it, and in the region tab, I'm going to increase the size of the default shape, which is sphere. And as you can see, particles by default are created inside the sphere. Dragging timeline, you can see how more and more particles appear inside that sphere. In my case, I'm going to use rectangle shape because we are simulating snow, which should fall from the top. I'm placing roughly the plane above the camera. Now let's add some force so our particle can fall down with the node particle directional force. We will put it right after the emitter. And let's increase the strength to give them higher speed. With the increased speed, our particles fall too deep, so we need to change lifespan parameter currently is 100. It means that one particle which has been born lives for 100 frames, and we need to decrease it. We do this to optimize the scene. The longer particle live, the more complex the calculation, because more particles in the scene exist at the same time. Now with basic setup prepared, I'm changing the size of the rectangle, our source object, to cover the full path of the camera and have some in front of the camera. Okay, now it's time to render out what we have here in the scene. Creating render 3D node, and to see it better, I'm switching to alpha mode. Everything is working, but the particles now are just 1 pixel size, so we don't know which particle closer to the camera, which is further. They're the same size. That's a basic setup. So now we need to modify it to make it more believable. The particle emitter node, let's check in the style tab the shape of the particles. I'm changing to Anton and increasing the size. Size variance also can be changed to have some randomness. Okay, now it looks more like snow. But there is one problem. You see particles are being born in frame 0. So we actually see how they are starting to fall, but simply change global in parameter to minus, and that will solve the problem. Let's compose our snowfall over the footage. I'm grabbing my sequence from the media pool and renaming this loader node to sequence and merging them together. Yellow and green inputs should be inverted. Control T, that's a shortcut. And don't forget to switch back to RGB view. Camera movement is matching with the footage. Now we need to adjust the style of the snow. Let's split the screen. On the right side we will see the final output, on the left side the 3D setup. This part you see speeded up because I'm adjusting a few parameters of the particle emitter to make it nice looking. If we're satisfied with the result, we can now implement the motion blur. We're gonna use a vector motion blur node for that, but to be able to see in the viewport, to make it work, you need to enable a vector channel in the render 3D node. With the motion blur now we see the line which is happening because the way particles are born. To fix that, we can change temporal distribution parameter to randomly distributed, and that will solve the problem. The default settings of the vector motion blur node are too high, so we can decrease the amount of blurriness. Now let's give some interesting movement to the particles. So we're gonna introduce the turbulence node. If you type particle, you will find all the tools that belongs to the particle simulation in the Fusion. And here is the turbulence. Let's plug it in. In the strength parameters, you can increase the value and see how it's changing the simulation. Uh, Basically, you see how it adds some vorticity into the movement of each particle. It becomes more chaotic and more natural. As a final touch, let's change the color because it's too bright now. We can use eyedropper to pick the color of the snow or the sky. And here we can see the final result. If you don't see it in the main editing tab, it means that you forgot to add media out node. I hope you liked this tutorial and I'll see you in the next one.